Hello there, Mr. James. Today I'm going to talk to you how social media affects our use of language. Specifically, I'm going to talk about how it affects high school students. Now, I'm going to talk about how I first met with social media. Now, when I was young, I was introduced to Facebook, the godfather of all social media. So, I didn't know the Facebook language, I wasn't familiar with it. But eventually, it became something or part of my daily use of language. So this asks the question, why and how is social media affecting our use of language? Social media will eventually be part of our formal daily use of language. It's shaping our language use, and eventually people are going to use language based on social media. Why? Because the younger generation are using it. Everybody is using Facebook and they're going to be influenced by social media. And that's why eventually in the future, language is going to be based on social media. So the first point I'm going to address is how and why social media is affecting language. So social media introduced us to new terms. They are targeting young teenagers, adult, and children. And when they target young teenagers, adult, and children, all these young teenagers, adult, children, they start to make a community of people that uses social media language. In fact, we call this a pound in formal English. But in social media language, this is a hashtag. And all the high school students and all the young generation are calling this hashtag because they're all using social media. If everybody uses social media every day, eventually it'll be part of their language, right? And that's why it's shaping our use of language. We don't know it, we think it's a small thing, but we do realize that we're starting to use social media language in part of our daily life. So that is how social media is affecting our use of language. But how is it affecting high school students' use of language? Now, that's a different story. High school students are the younger generation that's going to influence our formal language in the future. We're going to use language based on how the younger generation are using it right now. So if the younger generation are using Facebook and social media, does that mean that our language will be based on social media? Yes, it does. Before they would encounter Facebook and all the other social media, they would never use slangs or emoticons or other terms that are related to this social media. However, after they encounter the use of social media, they start to use these slangs and emoticons in their daily use of language. What this means is that Facebook and all the other social media are targeting teenagers so that they will use their language, the social media language. If teenagers and high school students are using social media language, that's going to affect their academic use and formal oral speaking use. So is this a good idea or a bad idea? So this is actually a good to a certain extent. So why are people actually using social media language? Because it makes things and makes language easier to communicate. In fact, Facebook and all the other social media is evolving language right now. Language is evolving constantly. From the past to the present, in history itself, language is being shaped and evolved daily. And what we're seeing right now is the evolution of language. Language is being changed to much simpler, faster, and easier terms. It's a globalized term that many people understand. And that is why social media can be good. However, it changes the originality or meaning of formal language. We can't just assume that all of us will understand social media language. The negative side of this is that not everybody will understand social media language in the future. And if we change this language right now, what is the future of language in the future? How easily can language be changed? So in conclusion, language is being shaped by social media. The reason why, because social media targets younger children. And eventually, teenagers and adults, they're going to use social media language. They're going to use slangs that they never use because it's simpler and much more content. Social media language is shaping language to be a much globalized community, a globalized language use. And that is why people like it. Because in human nature, we like globalization. We like to be part of a global community. We don't like to be wars or separation. We want peace and global issues. However, the problem with this is that we cannot just change language. It is a problem that we have to face. Thank you for listening to my presentation. Hope you have a good day.